Greetings once again to the Doctor of Ministry students here in the 897 Experience, the DMIN Ministry Project Design, really the candidacy phase of your program, how important it is, of course. You know, summer's kind of an odd time to be working on this kind of thing because we have mixture in our schedule. So we're not as focused. I don't know about you, but I think most people are not as focused. Yet it's an extremely important aspect of our ability to move forward together. Certainly it's true, you know, I have 899 students, and I think they lag just a little bit in the summer, but it's okay because they can keep going easily. Whereas for you, it's more difficult. It's possible for you to have a second semester if you need it. I don't encourage that because you tend to lose momentum in the process. But if you need to go into a second semester, it automatically happens. You don't have to re-enroll. The registrar just moves you forward. And then you'll find yourself with me again, enrolled in the fall semester. A third semester is maybe not possible. So it's really best to keep as much momentum going as possible. So I wanted to welcome you to week 11 here in our summer semester, and we are beginning to anticipate the end of our process since we're only basically 3 weeks away from the end of the summer semester. Module 5 moves us forward in this kind of way. We have, first of all, a very important a discussion forum on research methodology. And then we also have the opportunity to propose your first draft proposal, which means it will include every element, both the short introductory items as well as the short anticipatory items. At the end, it will include the whole thing. When you've completed your summary of the literature, as you know, and your BTH Foundation's items, you have most of your proposal. And so we are definitely anticipating a successful conclusion for all of you, for which that is true. Some very good and important, helpful resources for Module 5. Again, Turabian has some excellent chapters there in the first half of Turabian that deals with academic research and writing. Cresswell, of course, probably is our key book when it comes to project design and methodology. Again, sensing is excellent for us because it's addressed specifically at Doctor of Ministry students and projects. You also have the proposal. There is a blank proposal in the resources, the course resources area. There's also the annotated proposal, which we will look at together on Tuesday night. The PMIN 700 resources are available to you. I was able to reproduce them and put them at the bottom of the module section. They're there for you. I also had the privilege of teaching several times PMIN 705, which was a research methods course. I think it was decided that it was more information than most Doctor of Ministry students needed. But I think we're therefore have less information, in my experience, than most Doctor of Ministry students need. And so I saved all of that material, including some excellent video presentations that you would definitely enjoy. So I encourage you, if you want to just do a quick review of the research methodology ideas, as you know, that's qualitative, quantitative, mixed methods, particularly if you were thinking about doing a quantitative assessment of the data that you collect. You know, that's really quite, it's common, obviously, in PhD dissertation projects, not so common in DMIN projects, because it involves several additional steps that you need to be able to master in order to make good use of it. It's very doable, and there's software that enables you to do all of that. And so I have put that information there. You might take a look at the list to see if there is something in particular you would like to review, even a qualitative, design instrument, etc. You'd like to be able to review that. It's all there for you. So I encourage you to take a look at it, at least take a look to see whether or not there might be something that would be helpful for you to dig a little more deeply into the issue of research methodology. So in week 11, we are going to have a discussion forum on methodology. Here is our prompt, of course. A variety of research methods, quantitative and qualitative, are available in the doctoral project. So what research methods have you decided you will use in the project? You've already been able to address, and in anticipation, some you would like to use. But here's the key question. Why do you think those methods will be effective? Specifically, are you going to have for instance, if you have an interview, are you going to make it the kind of interview that can be analyzed qualitatively or quantitatively? You would structure the interview differently depending on how you're going to assess the data. That would be true for surveys and questionnaires, etc. So this is the time to begin to think about it. Once again, it's important to remember that all of the decisions when it comes to project design are made in the HSR application process. So we're just beginning to think about it in 897. We're a long ways from deciding what that will actually be. But I think it's valuable to think about it together, to discuss it together, and to once again review what's involved in all of that. So week 11 will be our opportunity to really begin to push the envelope when it comes to the issue of methodology. Of course, we're still in the process of finalizing some of the work we have begun. If you have not yet done so, be sure to turn in your draft for the BTH Foundations. Most of you have, of course. If we're still working on finalizing that together, be sure you do that. In a couple of cases, I noticed I still haven't gotten a final version of the literature summary section of your proposal. I would hate to wait till the end and say, by the way, this is still not what I had suggested you need to do. So you still have a lot of work to do. It's best to kind of be doing that as we go forward together and not save it for the end. And so be sure you're catching up. We had, of course, our project design discussion forum, which was very excellent. Once again, an opportunity to think together. One of the things I encourage you to do in our experience is to not make it more complicated than it needs to be. Honestly, you only need 2 or 3 data sets. We usually call them data sets of various instruments that you've used to collect data so that you can then analyze them, triangulate them, and so forth. And so if you're suggesting 5 or 6, research instruments, data collection instruments, then I say, you really don't need that much. You can simplify, may I suggest, and we have an opportunity to have a conversation about it. And of course, the mid-course student profile is just a template which you download and interact with, an excellent reflection opportunity. So if you've not done that yet, be sure to get that done. It shouldn't take you very long, but it's definitely something that you would want to do in our experience. We have our last really kind of a formal Zoom consultation, number 4, this coming Tuesday, July the 18th, 8:00 p.m. Eastern Time. And we will discuss together possible needs for updates. I want us then to look at the entire proposal. And so it'll take some time to unpack those early, short, they're usually just 2 or 3 paragraphs in those early, short introductory sections of your proposal. And then the latter anticipatory sections of your proposal. Also, think in terms of a page or so for each of those items. We will unpack that together on Tuesday night. And then I want to look very specifically at the template. The annotated template is the best place for you to see where the most recent School of Divinity formatting guidelines are provided. And so I want to make sure that we take the time to look at the template very carefully and suggest some of the best ways to use the template when it comes to actually composing and then submitting your final proposal. Any questions, of course, that you have along the way, I'm always here to work together with you. Enjoy doing so. So we will spend some time on Tuesday night making sure that you're clear on those areas. I probably will offer a fifth time to come together if you want to. I find it can be helpful with 897 students, those who are in fact completing the 897 assignments, to then discuss together the transition from 897 to 899. So you're clear as to the process going forward. What do I need to do? Do I need to enroll now in 899? How should I expect communication to happen with me? And, how quickly, a lot of practical questions. And I also like to suggest some research software that I think might be available to you, definitely available, but also helpful when it comes to 899. So, I might do a fifth thing and invite you to attend and participate just to get you ready specifically for 899. In terms of looking ahead, we're in the midst of several one-week modules. We started out kind of slow. We took our time to make sure we knew what we were doing and where we were going, and we finished fast at the end. So module 6 is also a 1-week module. Week 12 focuses then on the work you are doing and will be doing with your first proposal draft. Week 13, which is module 7, has one final very important discussion forum on the HSR process. Again, with a possible fifth Zoom meeting together, I will unpack the HSR process as clearly as I can. It's not a process that I do. It's not something for the chair to do. It's strictly under the control of Dr. Flynn. So your 899 chair will be responsible for the composition of your dissertation, but not the conduct of your project. And so all of that work in advance is approved by Dr. Flynn. And we'll have an opportunity to have a conversation about it in week 13, work on revisions of your final draft. And then week 14, I shouldn't have had that discussion forum the second time. Hopefully we will be done with that in week 14, because week 14 will be very much focused on completing the work on your final proposal. And then, when we agree together and I see, what, I know you now have accomplished what I know Dr. Flynn will be looking for and will approve. And so I'm going to send it on to him. And as a result, he will appoint your chair, and you can move forward into 899. So that will be our total focus. We'll catch up to the extent we need to catch up, but that will be the focus in week 14. Remember, that discussion forum is only in week 7. It shouldn't be repeated for module 8. Research methodology, I think it's sometimes for Doctor of Ministry students, probably more than PhD students, it can be difficult to wrap our head around the fact that we are in the end going to have to propose an intervention and then test it, which means we need to be able to generate data that provides empirical evidence. Empirical evidence simply means that this is real data that we can lay out, we can share with anyone who is interested, and it's analyzable data. So you can look at 2 or 3 at least data sets. You can analyze them individually and then together, and come up with some important conclusions as it pertains to the goals of your proposal, as it pertains ultimately to the statement of the problem, question, etc. So it's kind of a scientific process in the end for all doctoral research. And that is also true as a Doctor of Ministry student. You're not writing a research paper. You're not exploring a ministry option. You are suggesting a ministry option and testing it. And you are generating and analyzing the data that will accomplish that. So to be able to look at together at research methodology ends up being very, very important. So I look forward to doing that with you. I'm looking forward to our Zoom meeting together on Tuesday evening. I'm looking forward to almost all of you successfully finishing going through the 897 experience and moving on in the fall semester to your project. So it's going to be another great week. God bless you, everybody. I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday evening.